Hello. So I get a lot of questions about how I travel with Truffles, with him being the big head child that he is, how I get him on the plane, what I have to do, all of these type of things. So I'm going to run through how I started traveling with him and what you would need to do to travel with a larger dog and not have them put in cargo. So initially, I have been traveling with I don't like the word pet because they're not pets. They're my family members. They're my lifeline support, all of the things. So I started traveling with Nugget when he was, I don't even know how old. He was fairly young when we started traveling with him. And the first couple of times we put him in a carrier, obviously he was a Shih Tzu around like 18 pounds-ish, sometimes 20 if he was a little chunky. We would put him in a carrier and he would go under the seat. The first two times he screamed and hollered because he was anxious. He couldn't see us. He just wanted to be held. He didn't have a problem being on the airplane. It was just the fact that he was in a carrier. So we figured out a way to get him out of the carrier and into just my lap. So went through a couple of different channels of getting him certified as an emotional support animal. And then that way he could, walk freely, around the airport, not be in a carrier and sit on my lap during the flight. So that was the easiest thing. And then, once I adopted Truffles, I have to go places. I have to go see my parents who live in Oklahoma or, do whatever, but I want to be able to take him those places just because he's a bigger dog and, have that stigma of a pit bull there. I don't think it's fair. I know my dog. I know that he is somewhat well trained when he wants to behave, but overall, I think that, they should be allowed to travel just as much and see family just as much. So what you need to do to get your larger animal on the airplane with you is to have a doctor's note from your therapist, your doctor maybe, but my note is from my therapist saying that I need him to travel with me. And then depending on what airline you're flying with, they will have a specific form that you'll have to fill out, and you'll put all of your dog's information on there from like their vet, their shots, why they're traveling with you, and you submit that to the airline online. You get the form back. They either say you're approved or denied. Submitting that form also with the letter from your doctor. And I also keep a copy of both of those in my travel bag. So then that way, once I get to the ticket counter, if they ask any questions, I have, that letter with me and also, a hard copy as well as an email copy. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You can go the route of obviously if your animal is a service animal and is there to perform specific functions, you can pay for that and have your animal fly for free and, go through that route, which may be a little bit more extensive, probably the more costly option. So there's that as well, but I haven't had any issues doing it this way. I, make sure that Truffles goes to the bathroom before we get in the airport. Most airports, especially like Phoenix Airport, Tulsa Airport has it. I'm pretty sure Dallas, Chicago, LAX may have it. Depending on what terminal you're in, there's pet relief places inside the airport, so you don't have to go outside and go through like security, all of that stuff again. You can just let them go to the bathroom inside their own little pet terminal bathroom situation. And yeah, and I also do trazodone for Truffles because he is very anxious, and it just helps him just chill out. And the bulk of the situation is that you want to get a letter from your doctor, preferably a therapist or psychiatrist, whatever you have, saying that you need to travel with your animal, and it doesn't have any weight restrictions or breed restrictions or anything like that. You just want to make sure that your dog is obviously well behaved and you can take care of your dog while on the flight. The longest that I've flown with Truffles, I think the flight from LA to Tulsa is probably like 2.5 hours. I try and always get direct flights so we don't have to deal with layovers, so he doesn't have to get off the plane and get back on. That would be the better option, and that way, you know, it's just consistent. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Please let me know if you have any other questions. I will answer them in the comments. But yeah, like I said, I think it's important to fly with your animals. I know some people abuse the situation and abuse, you know, those terminologies. But I think that, you know, don't get caught, okay?